Kang Taeho stood at the observation window and watched the alien planet grow larger. It was beautiful. Blue and silver clouds moved across its surface, like slow rivers in the sky. Mountains taller than anything on Earth rose from green valleys. This was Athos, home of the Atheni Empire, and humanity was about to meet them for the first time. His stomach felt sick. "You look like you want to throw up," said Yun Nayeon. She walked up beside him and crossed her arms. She was the ship's language expert. She had spent 3 years learning the Atheni language from radio signals. Now, she would finally use it. "I do want to throw up," Taeho admitted. "Why am I even here? I fix engines. I am not a diplomat. I want a ferment. We conclude a day's not racks. I would not we conclude a day. I do want to throw up." Nayeon smiled. "You saved the ship?" When the reactor almost exploded. "Captain Junho thinks you are good under pressure." That was different. The reactor does not judge me. The reactor does not start wars if I say something stupid. Then do not say something stupid. Taeho looked at her. The UESS Horizon was Earth's first diplomatic starship. It carried ambassadors, politicians, scientists, and one very nervous engineer who wished he was back home eating his mother's cooking. The ship had traveled for 8 months to reach this moment. Humanity's future depended on making a good impression. No pressure at all. Captain Park Junho's voice came through the speakers. "All delegation members, please report to the main hall. We will enter the atmosphere in 30 minutes. Taeho took a deep breath. Nayeon patted his shoulder. "Come on," she said. "Time to make history." The main hall was full of important people in important clothes. Ambassadors wore their finest suits. Scientists carried tablets full of data. Everyone looked calm and professional. Taeho stood in the back corner and tried to become invisible. Captain Junho stood at the front. He was a tall man, with gray hair and kind eyes. He had been in space for 30 years. Nothing seemed to scare him. "Listen carefully," he said. "The Athani are an old civilization. They have traveled the stars for thousands of years. They are powerful, proud, and very formal. They value control above all things. They believe showing emotion is weakness. Do not expect them to smile or laugh. Do not expect warmth. Be respectful. Be calm. Be professional. Do not expect it. Be calm." Taeho leaned toward Nayeon. "So basically, be the opposite of me." "Shut up," she whispered. The ship shook gently as it entered the atmosphere. Through the windows, Taeho could see the capital city approaching. It was magnificent. Towers of white stone reached toward the sky. Gardens floated on platforms held up by technology humans could not understand. Rivers of light flowed between buildings like liquid gold. The ship landed on a platform made of crystal. It was so clear that Taeho could see the city below through the floor. His legs felt weak. The doors opened. Atheni guards stood in perfect lines on both sides of a long walkway. They were tall, much taller than humans. Their skin was silver blue, like moonlight on water. Their eyes were large and completely black. They wore armor that seemed to be made of light itself. None of them moved. None of them blinked. "Friendly crowd," Taeho muttered. The human delegation walked forward slowly. At the end of the walkway stood a raised platform with a single throne. The throne was empty. Then she appeared. Queen Velith of the Atheni walked out from behind a curtain of light. Time seemed to stop. Taeho forgot how to breathe. She was the most beautiful being he had ever seen. Her skin was pale, silver, with hints of blue that shifted as she moved. Her hair was white and flowed behind her like a waterfall of silk. She was tall and thin and moved like water flowing downhill, smooth and perfect. She wore a long dress that sparkled with tiny lights, and behind her flowed a ceremonial cape that attached at her lower back and swept the ground like a tail. But it was her face that captured him. It was cold, perfect, like a statue carved from ice. Her expression showed nothing. No warmth, no curiosity, No welcome. Just empty, beautiful nothing. She sat on her throne and looked down at the humans like they were insects. She seems nice, Teho whispered to Nayeon. She has rejected 17 suitors from 17 different species. Nayeon whispered back. She has ruled alone for 200 years. No one has ever seen her show emotion. They say her heart is made of stone. Great. Wonderful. I feel very welcome. The formal ceremony began. Ambassador Lee stepped forward and delivered a speech about friendship and cooperation between species. Queen Velith listened without expression. She did not nod. She did not react. She simply watched with those large black eyes. When the speech ended, she spoke. Her voice was low and smooth, like music played on strings. Humans, she said. You are young. Your species has only walked among the stars for a short time. Yet you come to us seeking alliance. This is either brave or foolish. Perhaps both. Ambassador Lee bowed. We hope to prove ourselves worthy of your respect, Your Majesty. We shall see. That was it. No welcome feast announcement. No warm words. Just, we shall see. The Athani guards led the humans to their guest quarters. The rooms were beautiful, but cold. Just like everything else on this planet. Teho sat on his bed and stared at the ceiling. This is going to be a disaster, he said to himself. There was a knock on his door. It was Nayeon. There is a banquet tonight, she said. You have to attend. Why? I am nobody. I fix engines. Captain's orders. He wants all delegation members present. It shows unity. Teho groaned. Can I hide behind a plant? There are no plants. The Athani think decorative plants are illogical. Of course they do. That night, Teho put on his formal uniform. It was tight and uncomfortable. He walked to the banquet hall with Nayeon, who looked perfect and calm and completely at ease. The hall was enormous. Thousands of Athani stood in groups, talking quietly. Humans mixed among them, trying to make conversation. Most conversations seemed awkward. Teho found a corner near the food table. The food looked strange, but he did not care. He just wanted to survive the night without causing an incident. He watched Queen Velith from across the room. She stood alone on a raised platform, speaking to no one. Nobles approached her, spoke briefly, then left. She never smiled. She never frowned. She was like a beautiful machine. Then, for just a moment, her eyes moved across the room and found him. Teho froze. She looked at him. Just looked. Her expression did not change. But she held his gaze for 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Then she looked away. Teho's heart was beating fast. He did not know why. What was that? He whispered to himself. He had no idea that his life was about to change forever. The banquet continued around Teho, like a slow river. Athani nobles drifted from group to group, speaking in their musical language. Their voices were soft and controlled. No one laughed. No one raised their voice. It was the quietest party Teho had ever attended. He stood near the food table and tried different dishes. Most tasted strange. One tasted like metal. Another tasted like flowers. He spit that one into a napkin when no one was looking. Nayeon had abandoned him 20 minutes ago. Captain Junho needed her to translate for an important conversation with some Athani general. She had promised to come back soon. She had not come back. Teho was alone. He watched the other humans trying to socialize. Ambassador Lee was speaking with a group of Athani nobles. His smile looked painful. The Athani listened with blank faces. They did not smile back. They never smiled. This must be what a funeral feels like, Teho muttered to himself. A really fancy funeral, where everyone is too polite to cry. He ate another piece of strange food. This one tasted like chicken. He ate 3 more pieces. The formal uniform was still too tight. He pulled at his collar and wished he was wearing his comfortable work clothes. Engineers did not belong at fancy parties. Engineers belonged in engine rooms where no one cared if you talked to yourself or made stupid jokes. He looked across the hall at Queen Veleth again. She was still on her platform, still alone, still beautiful, still cold. Nobles would approach, bow, speak a few words, and leave. She answered each one with the same blank expression, the same short replies, the same complete lack of emotion. Teho felt strange watching her. He could not look away. Her ceremonial cape caught the light as she moved. It was attached at her lower back and flowed down like a waterfall of fabric. It sparkled with tiny crystals that looked like stars. The way it was designed, it highlighted her figure in a way that was elegant but also very noticeable. Stop staring, Teho told himself. She is a queen. He looked away and grabbed another piece of chicken-flavored food. Then he heard footsteps behind him. Light footsteps, graceful footsteps. He turned around. Queen Veleth stood 3 feet away from him. Teho's brain stopped working. She was taller than him by almost a head. Her black eyes looked down at him with no expression. Her silver-blue skin was flawless, like polished glass. Up close, she was even more beautiful, and even more terrifying. "You are the engineer," she said. Her voice was soft and low. "The one who saved your ship from destruction." Teho opened his mouth. No words came out. She waited. He tried again. Yes, Your Majesty. That is me. I fix things. Engines mostly. Sometimes other things. But mostly engines." He was talking too much. He knew he was talking too much. He could not stop. "I have read reports about humans," Queen Veleth said. "You are an emotional species. You laugh and cry easily. You form attachments quickly. You make decisions based on feelings rather than logic. That is mostly true, yes. I find it strange. We find it normal." The ghost of something passed across her face. "Tell me," she said, "what do humans value in a leader?" Teho's mind went blank. This was a test. This had to be a test. The most powerful being on this planet was asking him about human leadership, and he was supposed to say something smart. He was not smart. He was an engineer who made bad jokes when he was nervous. "Well," he started, "we value honesty and strength and someone who cares about their people. These are common answers. What else?" She was pressing him. Why was she pressing him? Why was she even talking to him? There were ambassadors and scientists and important people everywhere. Why was she wasting time with him? Teho panicked. When Teho panicked, he made jokes. Bad jokes. Terrible jokes. Jokes that got him in trouble. He knew this about himself. He hated this about himself. He saw her cape again, the way it flowed from her lower back, the way it caught the light. His mouth opened. Words came out before his brain could stop them. "Well, where I come from, we would say your butt looks really nice in that outfit." Silence. Complete, total, absolute silence. Teho's brain caught up with his mouth. Horror flooded through him like ice water. "I did not mean to say that," he said quickly. "That was a joke. A bad joke. I make bad jokes when I am nervous. I am very nervous. Please do not kill me. Or start a war. Please do not start a war because of my mouth." Queen Veleth stared at him. Then something happened that no Athonai had ever seen. Her silver-blue skin changed color. It shifted slowly, like paint spreading through water. Blue became purple. Purple became pink. Pink became deep, bright crimson. She was blushing. The queen of the Ethony Empire, who had not shown emotion in 200 years, was blushing bright red because of something Teho said. She said nothing. She turned and walked away. Her steps were faster than before, less graceful, almost hurried. The Athony nobles nearby stared. They had seen the color change. They had heard the human speak. They looked at Teho like he was an alien who had fallen from the sky, which, technically, He was. Nyan appeared at his side. Her face was pale. "What did you just do?" she whispered. Her voice was shaking. "I made a bad joke." "What kind of bad joke?" "I told her that her butt looked nice." Nyan's mouth fell open. "You said what?" "It just came out." I was nervous. She was asking me questions. I panicked. "Teho, do you understand what you have done? I insulted the Queen and started an intergalactic war? I do not know yet." But her skin turned crimson. I have never read about Athene's skin turning crimson. That color is not in any of my research. Teho felt sick. "That is bad, right? That must be bad." "I do not know. I need to find out." She grabbed his arm and pulled him out of the banquet hall. They walked quickly through corridors of white stone. Athene's servants watched them pass with curious eyes. Captain Junho was waiting in a small meeting room. His face was serious. "I heard what happened," he said. "The whole banquet is talking about it." "What exactly did you say to the Queen?" "Bye." "I see." "Bye." Teho repeated his words. Captain Junho closed his eyes and rubbed his forehead. "Of all the things you could have said," the captain muttered. "I know. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Being sorry will not help if they declare war." "Would they really declare war over this?" "I do not know. I do not understand their culture well enough." Junho looked at Nyan. "Find out what that color means. Find out now." Nyan nodded and ran out of the room. Teho sat down heavily in a chair. His legs could not hold him anymore. He had traveled 8 months through space. He had survived a reactor explosion. He had made it to an alien world. And now he might have destroyed everything because he could not keep his mouth shut. "Captain," he said quietly, "I am truly sorry." Junho looked at him for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, he smiled. "In 30 years of space travel," the captain said, "I have seen many things, but I have never seen a queen blush." He walked out of the room, leaving Teho alone with his thoughts and his fear. 1 hour passed. Then 2. Teho did not move from his chair. He imagined all the terrible things that might happen. War, imprisonment, execution, being sent home in shame. Then the door opened, and Nyan ran in. Her face was not angry. Her face was shocked. And something else. Was she trying not to laugh? "You are not going to believe this," she said. Nyan sat down across from Teho. She was breathing hard. She had been running. "Tell me," Teho said. "Am I going to die?" "No." "Is there going to be a war?" "No." "Then why do you look like that?" Nyan put her hands on the table. She took a deep breath. When she spoke, her voice was strange, like she was trying very hard to stay calm. "I spoke with the Athani court historian," she said. "I asked about the color crimson, what it means when an Athani's skin turns that color. And it has not happened in 300 years. It is extremely rare. Most Athani never experience it in their entire lives." Teho leaned forward. "What does it mean?" Nyan looked him directly in the eyes. "In Athani culture, commenting on someone's lower body is not an insult. It is not a joke. It is a form of courtship, a very serious form of courtship. In ancient times, Athani warriors would speak about the lower body of someone they wished to marry. It was considered the most direct and honest proposal possible." Teho blinked. "What? You did not insult the queen. You proposed to her." "I proposed to her? According to their customs? Yes. You made a marriage proposal. In front of the entire court." Teho's brain struggled to understand. This could not be real. "But I was just making a stupid joke," he said. "They do not know that. They have no concept of jokes about courtship. For them, such words are always serious." "So the whole court thinks I proposed to the queen?" "Yes." "And the color crimson?" Nyan's lips twitched. She was definitely trying not to laugh now. "The color crimson means the proposal is being considered. It means the receiver found the words acceptable, maybe even pleasing." Taeho stood up so fast his chair fell over. She liked it? Her body reacted with crimson. In their culture, that means she did not find your words offensive. She found them worthy of consideration. Taeho, do you understand what this means? I accidentally proposed to an alien queen, and she is thinking about saying yes? Basically, yes. Taeho walked to the window. He looked out at the beautiful alien city. The towers of white stone, the floating gardens, the rivers of light. This cannot be happening, he said. The door opened. Captain Junho walked in with two Athani officials behind him. The officials wore silver robes and carried tablets that glowed with soft light. It is happening, Junho said. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed something that might have been amusement. I have just had a very interesting conversation with the Queen's advisors. The Athani officials bowed slightly to Taeho. This was shocking. Officials did not bow to engineers. The Queen has made a request, Junho continued. She would like the human, called Kang Taeho, to remain on the planet as a cultural guest. She wishes to learn more about human customs and behaviors. Taeho turned around. She wants me to stay? She does. Why? She did not explain. But her advisors told me that this is highly unusual. The Queen has never shown personal interest in any visitor. Ever. One of the Athani officials spoke. His voice was soft and musical. The Queen's reaction at the banquet has caused much discussion. Many are curious about the human who could affect her so strongly. Your words were heard by many witnesses. The proposal has been registered officially. Registered officially, Taeho repeated. Yes. You are now listed as a potential suitor to the Queen. The 17th suitor she has rejected over 2 centuries was Lord Vathan of the Northern Territories. You are now the 18th suitor, but you are the first whose proposal made her skin change color. Taeho looked at Nayeon. She shrugged. I cannot make this up, she said. Captain Junho stepped forward. Taeho, this is your choice. You can refuse and return to the ship. The Queen will understand. We will explain that humans have different customs. There will be no offense. But, Taeho asked, but this is an opportunity. If the Queen is truly interested in you, it could mean better relations between our species. It could mean trade agreements, technology sharing, maybe even alliance. You want me to romance the Queen for political reasons? Junho shook his head. I want you to be honest. If you stay, be yourself. Do not pretend to be something you are not. But this door has opened in a way none of us expected. It would be a shame to close it without seeing what is on the other side. Taeho thought about his life back on the ship. Fixing engines, running diagnostics, eating the same food every day. It was simple. It was safe. It was boring. He thought about the Queen. Her cold beauty. Her ancient loneliness. The way her skin had turned crimson at his words. He thought about the way she had looked at him across the banquet hall. Those 5 seconds of eye contact. Had she been curious about him even before he spoke? If I stay, he said slowly. What exactly am I supposed to do? The Athani official answered. You will be given quarters in the palace. You will attend cultural exchange meetings with the Queen. You will learn about Athani customs, and you will teach us about human customs. The Queen has requested daily meetings. Daily? Yes. She was very specific. Nayeon made a sound that was almost a laugh. She really liked the "but" comment. Please stop saying that, Taeho groaned. But deep inside, somewhere under the fear and confusion, he felt something else. Curiosity, interest, maybe even excitement. He had come to space looking for adventure. He had found something he never expected. I will stay, he said. The Athani officials bowed again. We will prepare your quarters. The Queen will receive you tomorrow morning. They left. Captain Junho looked at Taeho for a long moment. Are you sure about this? The captain asked. No, I am not sure about anything. But I said stupid words. And now, I have to see what happens because of them. Junho smiled. That might be the most human thing I have ever heard. He left too. Only Nayeon remained. You know this is crazy, right? She said. Yes. You are an engineer from a small country on a small planet. She is the ruler of an empire that spans dozens of star systems. Yes. You made a joke about her butt. And now you are her suitor. Yes. This is the strangest first contact in the history of humanity. Yes. Nayeon walked to the door. She paused and looked back. For what it is worth, she said, I think she made the right choice. You are strange and awkward, and you say stupid things. But you are also kind and honest and brave. Maybe those are the things she needs. She left. Taeho stood alone in the room. The alien sun was setting outside the window. The sky turned from blue to purple to gold. It was beautiful. Tomorrow he would meet the queen again. Tomorrow he would have to explain human jokes and human feelings and human awkwardness. Tomorrow he would begin the strangest chapter of his life. He smiled to himself. My mother is never going to believe this, he said. Somewhere in the palace, in her private chambers. Queen Velith stood at her own window. She watched the same sunset. Her skin was still faintly pink. No one had ever made her feel like this. No one had ever spoken to her with such casual boldness. No one had ever looked at her and seen something other than a queen to fear. She did not understand these feelings. She had never experienced them before, but she wanted to understand. She wanted to see him again. Her hand touched her lower back, where the ceremonial cape had been. Such strange creatures, these humans. Such interesting creatures. She would learn more. She would learn everything. And maybe, for the first time in 200 years, she would let herself feel something real. The palace quarters were larger than Taeho's entire apartment back on Earth. The bed could fit 6 people. The bathroom had a pool instead of a shower. The window was 3 stories tall and looked out over the floating gardens of the capital city. Taeho sat on the bed and felt very small. A servant had brought him breakfast. Strange fruits in purple and gold colors. Some kind of meat that tasted like honey. A drink that sparkled like liquid starlight. He ate everything. He was too nervous not to eat. At exactly 9 o'clock, 2 guards came to escort him to the queen. They walked through endless hallways of white stone. Paintings hung on the walls, showing ancient Ethani history. Battles. Ceremonies. Queens and kings who had ruled thousands of years ago. Everyone they passed stopped and stared at Taeho. The human. The one who made the queen blush. Word had spread through the entire palace overnight. He was famous now. Famous for saying something stupid about an alien queen's butt. His mother really would never believe this. They reached a large door covered in silver carvings. The guards opened it and stepped aside. The queen awaits, one guard said. Taeho walked in. The room was beautiful. Plants grew along the walls, their leaves blue and silver. A fountain bubbled quietly in the corner. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere. It felt calm, peaceful. Queen Velith sat on a simple chair near the window. She was not wearing her formal clothes. Instead, she wore a simple white dress that made her look younger, less frightening. She stood when he entered. Kang Taeho, she said. Her voice was different today. Softer, less formal. Your Majesty. He bowed, hoping he was doing it right. Please, sit. There was another chair facing hers. He sat down. Their knees were almost touching. This felt very personal for a meeting with a queen. I must apologize, she said. Taeho blinked. You apologize? I am the one who said. Yes. But I reacted in a way that was unexpected. My color change was witnessed by many. It has caused you to become the subject of much attention. This was not fair to you. Any-ten. Our Godsa. It was my fault. I make bad jokes when I am nervous. Jokes? She tilted her head slightly. You were not serious? No. I mean, yes. I mean, He took a breath. Where I come from, saying something like that is not a proposal. It is just a comment, sometimes a joke, sometimes a compliment. I did not know it meant something different in your culture. I see. She was quiet for a moment. So, you do not wish to court me? The question hung in the air. Tejo should have said no. He should have explained the misunderstanding and asked to go back to his ship. But he looked at her face, really looked at it. She was trying to hide it. But he saw something in her eyes. Something that looked like disappointment. Maybe even sadness. I did not say that, he heard himself say. Her eyes widened slightly. What do you mean? I did not plan to propose to anyone. I am just an engineer. I fix broken things. But, he struggled to find the right words. When I saw your skin change color, something happened to me too. I do not understand it. I just know that I want to understand it. She stared at him for a long moment. Then her skin shifted slightly. Just a little pink around her cheeks. You are very strange, she said. I know. Your words are not careful. You speak without thinking. I know that too. It is refreshing. Tejo smiled. No one has ever called my stupidity refreshing before. I did not say stupidity. I said you speak without thinking. That is different. You say what you feel. My people do not do this. We hide our feelings. We control everything. For 200 years, no one has said anything real to me. Everything is politics. Everything is calculation. That sounds lonely. Her eyes met his. Something passed between them. Understanding. Maybe. It is, she said quietly. Very lonely. The meeting was supposed to last 1 hour. It lasted 4. Tejo told her about Earth. About the oceans and mountains and cities. About his family. His mother who cooked the best food. His father who told bad jokes. Just like him. His sister who was smarter than everyone in the family combined. He told her about being an engineer. About the beauty of machines. About how everything has a logic if you look hard enough. About how he loved fixing things that seemed impossible to fix. The Queen listened to everything. She asked questions. Real questions. Not political questions. Personal questions. Do humans really cry when they are happy? She asked. Yes. And when we are sad. And sometimes, when we are just overwhelmed. We do not cry. We consider it shameful. That is sad. Is it? Yes. Crying is how we release things that are too big to keep inside. If you never release them, they just build up. That must be painful. She was quiet for a long time after that. When the meeting ended, she walked him to the door herself. This was shocking. Queens did not walk guests to doors. Servants did that. Tomorrow, she said. Same time? Yes, I would like that. She smiled. It was small. Just a tiny curve of her lips. But it was the first smile anyone had seen on her face in 50 years. Tejo walked back to his quarters in a daze. He did not notice the guards following him. He did not notice the servants staring at him. He only thought about her smile. The days became weeks. Every morning, Tejo met with the Queen. They talked for hours. She taught him about Ethany history and culture. He taught her about human emotions and customs. He made her laugh. It happened on the 12th day. He told her about the time he accidentally set his own pants on fire while fixing an engine. She made a sound that was half gasp and half something else. What was that? He asked. I do not know. Her skin was turning pink again. It felt strange, like something bubbling up inside me. That was a laugh, or the beginning of one. A laugh. She said the word like it was foreign, because for her, it was. By the 3rd week, she was laughing regularly. Small laughs, quiet laughs, but real ones. Her advisors watched in confusion. The court whispered constantly. The Queen was changing. The cold statue was becoming warm. Some were happy about this. Some were worried. One person was furious. Lord Canis was the most powerful noble in the empire, after the queen herself. He controlled the northern territories. He commanded 30,000 warriors. He had expected to marry Veleth eventually. He had expected to become king. But now a human, a nobody from a nothing planet, was making the queen smile. This could not be allowed. On the night of the third week, Lord Canis called a secret meeting with his allies. "The human must go," he said. "One way or another." His allies nodded. In the shadows of the beautiful palace, dark plans began to form, but Tejo knew nothing about this. He only knew that every day, he looked forward to seeing the queen. And every day, the feeling grew stronger. He was falling for her, and somewhere deep inside her ancient heart, Queen Veleth was falling for him too. The floating gardens were Tejo's favorite place in the palace. Platforms of crystal hung in the air, held up by technology he did not understand. Trees with silver leaves grew from them. Flowers bloomed in colors that did not exist on Earth. Tiny creatures flew between the branches, singing songs in frequencies that humans could barely hear. He walked along the pathways every evening, thinking about the queen, thinking about how much his life had changed in just 1 month. Tonight, the garden was quiet. Most of the servants had gone to bed. Only the night guards remained, standing at their posts like statues. Tejo stopped near a fountain that poured water upward instead of downward. The water rose in a perfect column, then spread out like a flower at the top, before falling back down. It was beautiful and impossible. He heard footsteps behind him. "Beautiful night," said a voice. Tejo turned. A tall Athene male stood there. He wore expensive robes of black and silver. His face was handsome, but cold. His eyes looked at Tejo, the way a predator looks at prey. "Lord Canis," Tejo said. He had heard about this man, the most powerful noble, the one who wanted to marry the queen. "You know my name?" "Good." Canis walked closer. "I have wanted to meet you, human. The creature who has captured our queen's attention. I am not a creature. I am an engineer. You are an insect." Canis's voice was calm, almost friendly, but his eyes were not friendly at all. "You come from a planet that barely discovered fire 1,000 years ago. Your species is young and weak and foolish. Yet somehow, you have convinced our queen to waste her time on you." Tejo felt anger rising in his chest. "The queen can spend her time however she wants. It is not your decision." "No? Perhaps not. But I have watched our empire for 200 years. I have served it. I have protected it. I have earned the right to stand beside her. You have earned nothing. You made a crude comment about her body, and now you think you deserve her attention. I do not think I deserve anything. She chose to see me. I did not ask for it." Canis smiled. It was not a nice smile. "She chose wrong," he said. "And soon, she will understand that." He walked away into the darkness. Tejo stood by the fountain for a long time. His heart was beating fast, not from fear, from anger. He knew he should tell someone. Captain Junho. Nayeon. The queen herself. But what would he say? That a powerful noble had said mean words to him? That was not a crime. That was just politics. He decided to be more careful. 3 days later, the accident happened. Tejo was visiting the palace's engine room. It was huge, filled with machines that powered the entire city. He had asked to see it because he was curious. The queen had arranged a tour for him. The Athene engineers showed him their technology with pride. Energy cores that burned for 1,000 years. Gravity generators that kept the floating gardens in the sky. Cooling systems that could freeze an ocean in minutes. Tejo was impressed. He asked questions. He learned new things. For a few hours, he forgot about Lord Canis. Then the cooling system exploded. It happened fast. One moment, everything was normal. The next moment, a pipe burst and freezing gas shot across the room. The temperature dropped instantly. Ice formed on the walls, on the floor, on Taeho's skin. He could not breathe. His lungs were freezing from the inside. The Athani engineers ran for the exit. They were faster than him, taller than him. They reached the door first. Taeho fell to his knees. Ice was spreading up his arms. His vision was going dark. Then he saw it. A valve. Just 3 feet away. If he could reach it, if he could turn it, he could stop the gas flow. His body did not want to move. Everything hurt. His fingers were turning blue. But he was an engineer. He fixed broken things. That was what he did. He crawled. Every inch was agony. The cold was eating him alive. He reached the valve. His frozen fingers grabbed it. He pulled. Nothing happened. He pulled harder. He screamed. The valve turned. The gas stopped. Taeho collapsed on the frozen floor and closed his eyes. He woke up in a medical room. Machines surrounded him. Warmth was spreading through his body. He was alive. Nayeon sat beside his bed. Her eyes were red like she had been crying. "You are awake," she said. "Thank the stars." "What happened?" "The cooling system malfunctioned." "You almost died." The doctors said, "Another 30 seconds, and your internal organs would have frozen solid." "The engineers? Are they okay?" "Yes. They escaped before the worst of it." "You saved everyone by shutting off the valve." Taeho tried to sit up. His body ached everywhere. "It was not a malfunction," he said. Nayeon's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean?" "I am an engineer. I looked at that cooling system before the accident. It was perfect. No flaws, no signs of wear. Systems like that do not just explode. You think someone sabotaged it? I think someone tried to kill me." The door opened. Queen Velith walked in. Taeho had never seen her like this. Her skin was not silver blue. It was deep violet, almost purple. Her eyes burned with something he had never seen in her before. Rage. "Leave us," she said to Nayeon. Her voice was quiet but terrifying. Nayeon left quickly. The queen walked to Taeho's bedside. She looked at his bandaged hands, his pale face, the machines keeping him alive. "Who did this?" she asked. Her voice shook with anger. "I do not know for certain, but you suspect someone." Taeho thought about Lord Canis, about his words in the garden, about the way he had smiled. "I do not want to make accusations without proof," he said. "Tell me. Lord Canis visited me 3 days ago. He made it clear that he wanted me gone." The queen's skin darkened even more. She turned and walked to the window. For a long moment, she said nothing. "Canis has wanted to marry me for a century," she said finally. "I have refused him every time. He is powerful and ambitious and dangerous. I did not think he would go this far. We do not know it was him. It was him." She turned back to face Taeho. "I know him. I know what he is capable of. And now, he has made a terrible mistake." "What do you mean?" "He tried to hurt you. You, who are under my protection. You, who I have claimed interest in." They were softer now, but still burning. "He thought I was weak. He thought my feelings for you made me vulnerable. He was wrong. Traps, ADI. Don't 3. Taeho felt his heart skip. "Your feelings for me?" She walked back to his bedside. She sat down in the chair Nayeon had been using. Very gently, she took his bandaged hand in hers. "I have lived for over 300 years, she said. "I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched stars die. I have been alone for so long that I forgot what connection felt like. Then you came. You made me laugh. You made me feel. For the first time in centuries, I wanted to wake up in the morning because someone was waiting for me." Taeho could not speak. His throat was too tight. "If Canis thinks he can take that away from me," she continued, "he is wrong. I will protect you. I will protect what we are building together." And anyone who tries to harm you will learn why I have ruled this empire for 200 years. She stood up. Her skin was shifting back to silver blue. But her eyes, still, held fire. Rest now, she said. Heal. When you are better, we will deal with Lord Canis together. She walked to the door. Velith, Teho called. It was the first time he had used her name without her title. She stopped. Thank you, he said. For caring about me. She looked back at him. And she smiled. A real smile. Full, and warm, and beautiful. Thank you for making me remember how to care, she said. She left. Teho lay back on his bed and stared at the ceiling. He was injured. He was in danger. A powerful enemy wanted him dead. But for the first time since he arrived on this planet, he was not afraid. Because he was not alone anymore. 2 weeks passed. Teho healed slowly. The cold had damaged his lungs and his hands. The Athani doctors said he was lucky to be alive. They said human bodies were fragile but surprisingly tough at the same time. Like soft metal that bends but does not break. During those 2 weeks, Queen Velith visited him every day. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they sat in silence. Sometimes she read to him from ancient Ethani poetry. Her voice was soft and musical, and he often fell asleep listening to her. He was falling deeper in love with her every day. He knew it. She knew it. Neither of them said it out loud. Lord Canis had gone quiet. No more threats. No more accidents. But Teho knew it was not over. Men like Canis did not give up. They waited. They planned. They struck when you least expected it. On the 15th day, Teho was strong enough to walk again. He left the medical room and went to the garden. The fresh air felt good in his damaged lungs. Nayan was waiting for him there. We need to talk, she said. Her face was serious. They sat on a bench near the upward fountain. Lord Canis has made a move, Nayan said. He has challenged you to a traditional Ethani honor duel. Teho felt his stomach drop. A duel? Like a fight? Not exactly. Ethani duels are not about physical combat. They are about willpower, endurance, emotional control. In Redi, endurance, emotional control. I do not understand, Nayan explained. In ancient times, when two Ethani disagreed, they would face each other in a test of will. They would stand before judges and witnesses. They would speak their truths. They would reveal their deepest selves. The one who showed the most control, the most strength of character, would win. But here is the important part, Nayan said. The Ethani believe emotions are weakness. In these duels, the goal is to stay calm, to show nothing, to be like stone. That does not sound fair to me. Humans are emotional. We cannot hide what we feel. Exactly. Canis is counting on that. He thinks you will embarrass yourself. He thinks you will cry or rage or break down in front of everyone. Then he will look strong. And you will look weak. And the queen will have to reject you. Teho stared at the ground. Can I refuse the challenge? Yes. But if you refuse, you will be seen as a coward. Your reputation will be destroyed. The queen will not be able to keep seeing you without losing respect from her people. So I have no choice. You have a choice. It is just not a good one. That night, Teho met with Queen Velith in her private chambers. She already knew about the challenge. You do not have to do this, she said. We can find another way. What other way? If I refuse, I shame you. If I run, I shame my entire species. Humanity's first contact with your empire, and we are seen as cowards who cannot face a simple test. It is not a simple test. Canis has been preparing for this his whole life. He has perfect emotional control. Then I will be his first loss. She looked at him with worry in her eyes. Teho, please. I cannot lose you. He walked to her and took her hands. They were cool and smooth, like touching marble that had been left in shade. "You will not lose me," he said. "I may not win the way Athene win, but I will win." "How?" He smiled. "By being human." The duel took place 3 days later in the great hall of the palace. Thousands of Atheni gathered to watch. Nobles and servants and common people, all crowded together to see the human face their most powerful lord. Captain Junho and Nayan stood in the front row. The captain looked calm. Nayan looked like she wanted to throw up. Queen Veleth sat on her throne above the crowd. Her face showed nothing. But Teho saw her hands gripping the armrests too tightly. Lord Canis stood on one side of the hall. He wore black robes that flowed like shadows. His face was perfectly calm, perfectly controlled. He looked like he had already won. Teho stood on the other side. He wore simple clothes. His hands still had faint scars from the cold. He looked small and weak and very human. The High Judge, an ancient Ithani with white skin and clouded eyes, spoke the rules. Each contestant will speak their truth. They will reveal themselves to all who watch. The one who shows greater strength of character will be declared the winner. Let the challenge begin. Canis went first. He spoke for 20 minutes. His voice never changed. His expression never moved. He talked about his accomplishments, his victories, his service to the empire. He talked about duty and honor and control. He was impressive. He was powerful. He was everything an Ethani leader should be. When he finished, the crowd was silent with respect. Then it was Teho's turn. He walked to the center of the hall. He looked at the thousands of alien faces watching him. He looked at Queen Veleth on her throne. He took a deep breath. "I am not going to talk about my accomplishments," he said. "I do not have many. I am just an engineer. I fix broken things." Whispers moved through the crowd. "I am also not going to hide my emotions. I know that in your culture, emotions are weakness. But where I come from, they are strength." Canis smiled slightly. He thought Teho was making a mistake. "Let me tell you about fear," Teho continued. "Right now, I am afraid. My heart is beating fast. My hands are shaking. I am standing in front of thousands of people who think I am nothing. And I am terrified." The crowd murmured. Some looked shocked. No one ever admitted fear in a duel. "But being afraid does not make me weak. It makes me brave. Because bravery is not the absence of fear. Bravery is being afraid and doing the thing anyway." He turned to look at Canis. "You have never known fear, have you? You have never felt your heart race. You have never lain awake at night, worrying about someone you love. You have never cried because something beautiful made your chest hurt. You call that strength. I call it emptiness." Canis's expression flickered. Just for a moment, Teho turned back to the crowd. "Let me tell you about love. I love your queen. Not because she is beautiful, though she is. Not because she is powerful, though she is. I love her because she trusted me with her loneliness. She showed me the parts of herself that she hides from everyone else. She laughed with me. She let me see her fear. That takes more courage than any battle. That takes more strength than any conquest." He looked at Veleth. Her skin was shifting colors, pink and gold and something else he could not name. "When I almost died in that accident, I was not afraid of death. I was afraid of never seeing her again. I was afraid of never hearing her laugh again. I was afraid that she would go back to being alone and cold and distant, because I would not be there to remind her that she is allowed to feel." His voice broke slightly. He did not hide it. "That is what humans do. We feel everything. We feel too much, probably. We cry and laugh and love and fear and hope, sometimes all at once. It is messy. It is painful. It is beautiful." He looked directly at Canis. "You think emotions are weakness. But they are what make us strong. They are what connect us to each other. They are what make life worth living. You have lived for centuries with perfect control, but have you ever really lived? Have you ever loved someone so much it hurt? Have you ever been so happy you cried? Have you ever held someone in the dark and promised them that everything would be okay? Kainis said nothing, but his face had changed. The perfect calm was cracking. I may not win by your rules, Teho said, but I will not pretend to be something I am not. I am human. I am emotional. I am afraid, and hopeful, and in love, and I am not ashamed of any of it. He turned back to the crowd. If that makes me weak in your eyes, then I accept that. But I would rather be weak and feel everything than be strong and feel nothing. He stopped talking. The great hall was completely silent. Then, slowly, something strange happened. One Ethany in the crowd touched their chest. Then another. Then another. They were feeling something. They did not know what to call it. They had spent their whole lives suppressing it. But Teho's words had reached inside them and touched something they had buried long ago. The High Judge stepped forward. His old face showed something that might have been wonder. Farm, A.T.R. In 300 years of judging duels, he said, I have never witnessed anything like this. Lord Canis spoke of power and control. The humans spoke of fear and love. These are different kinds of strength. Lord Canis said. Lord Canis. Lord Canis said. Lord Canis said. He looked at the crowd. Hundreds of Atheni had changed color slightly. Pink and gold and other shades that spoke of emotions long forgotten. The winner of this duel, the High Judge said, is the one who showed the most truth, the one who moved the hearts of all who watched. The winner is Kang Teho of Earth. The crowd erupted. Canis stood frozen. He had lost. Somehow, impossibly, he had lost. Teho did not care about the victory. He only cared about one person. He looked up at the throne. Queen Velith was crying. Silver tears rolled down her silver cheeks. Her skin was glowing gold. She was smiling. It was the most beautiful thing Teho had ever seen. 3 days after the duel, Lord Canis was stripped of his titles and sent to the far edges of the empire. He would spend the rest of his long life watching distant stars and thinking about how a human had defeated him. The palace buzzed with change. Atheni nobles, who had hidden their feelings for centuries, began to whisper about them. Some started to cry. Others started to laugh. The empire that had been frozen for so long was beginning to thaw, and at the center of it all was Teho, the engineer from Earth who had spoken the truth. He stood in the floating garden, looking at the upward fountain, when Nyan found him. You are a celebrity now, she said. Everyone wants to meet the human who made half the empire cry. I did not mean to make anyone cry. Yes, you did. And it worked. She smiled at him. I am proud of you, Teho. When we left Earth, I thought you would fix engines and stay out of trouble. Instead, you started a cultural revolution. I just talked about my feelings. Sometimes that is enough. She left him alone with his thoughts. An hour later, a servant came with a message. The queen wanted to see him in her private chambers, not the formal meeting room. Her personal space, where she slept and dreamed and spent her quiet hours. Teho had never been there before. He followed the servant through corridors he did not recognize. The walls here were softer, covered in fabrics of silver and blue. The lights were warm instead of cold. This part of the palace felt like a home, not a government building. The servant stopped at a simple wooden door. No guards, no carvings, just a door. Her Majesty is inside, the servant said, and left. Teho knocked. Come in, said Velith's voice. He opened the door. The room was small and comfortable. A bed covered in soft blankets. Shelves filled with old books. A window that looked out at the stars. It was the room of a person, not a queen. Velith stood by the window. She was wearing the simple white dress again. Her feet were bare. Her hair was loose and flowing. She looked at him with those large dark eyes. Thank you for coming, she said. Thank you for inviting me. She walked toward him slowly. Her steps were quiet on the soft floor. I have been thinking, she said, about everything that has happened. About you. About us. What have you decided? She stopped an arm's length away from him. I need to ask you something first. And I need you to be completely honest with me. I will be. That first night, at the banquet. When you said those words about my... She paused, and a hint of pink touched her cheeks. About my lower body. Did you mean it? Or was it really just a joke? Tejo thought carefully before answering. It was a joke, he said. At first, I was nervous, and I said something stupid. But also, he looked at her directly. You are beautiful. Every part of you. I noticed that from the moment I saw you. So maybe the joke had some truth in it. The pink in her cheeks deepened. I thought so, she said quietly. Does that bother you? No. It makes me happy. No one has ever looked at me the way you do. Like I am a person, not a symbol, not a throne, not a title, just a person who happens to have a nice... She could not finish the sentence. She laughed instead. It was a real laugh. Full and warm. Tejo laughed too. Your Majesty, he said. I should probably go back to my ship. The diplomatic mission is ending. My people will return to Earth soon. I should go with them. She stopped laughing. Her face became serious. Is that what you want? No. But I do not want to cause problems for you. I am a human. A foreigner. If you keep me here, people will talk. They will question your judgment. They will say, you have gone soft. I am soft, she said. You made me soft. You made me feel things I had forgotten. You reminded me that being alive means more than just existing. She reached out and touched his face. Her fingers were cool against his skin. I do not want to go back to who I was before. Cold. Alone. Empty. I would rather have people talk about me. I would rather have them question me. At least then I would be living. Velith, do you love me? She asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. You said it in the duel. In front of everyone. But I need to hear you say it again. Just to me. Just in this room. Tejo took her hand from his face and held it in both of his. I love you, he said. I have loved you since the moment you came to talk to me at the banquet. I loved you more every day we spent together. I loved you when I was freezing to death, and all I could think about was your smile. I love you now, standing here, looking at you in this simple room, and I will love you tomorrow, and the day after, and every day after that, for as long as I live. A tear rolled down her cheek. It was silver, like liquid starlight. I love you too, she said. I was afraid to say it. I was afraid that if I said it out loud, something would take it away from me. But I am tired of being afraid. I am tired of hiding. I want to feel everything, even the fear. I want to live. She stepped closer. Their faces were inches apart. Stay with me, she said. Not as a guest. Not as a curiosity. Stay as my partner. My equal. My chosen. What will your people say? They will say whatever they want. I do not care. I have spent 200 years caring about what everyone thinks. It is time to care about what I think. And I think, I want you. Tejo smiled. His heart felt like it was going to burst. Well, he said, if you are asking me to stay... What? Your shoulders. Velith stared at him for a moment. Then she burst out laughing. Real laughter. Loud laughter. The kind that makes your stomach hurt and your eyes water. She had to lean against him to keep from falling over. You are impossible, she said through her giggles. I know. But you love me. Anyway. End quote. I do. Stars help me. I do. She kissed him. It was awkward at first. Ethany did not kiss the way humans did. Their mouths were shaped slightly different. Their customs were different, but they figured it out together. Like two people learning a new dance. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were breathing hard. Her skin was glowing gold, the color of a chosen bond. His face was red, the color of a human, very much in love. "So," she said, "I suppose you are staying?" "I suppose I am. My advisors will be shocked. Your advisors are always shocked." "I think they enjoy it." She laughed again. He loved her laugh. He would spend the rest of his life trying to make her laugh. A month later, the news spread across the galaxy. The Queen of the Ethony Empire had chosen a partner, a human engineer from a small planet called Earth, a man who had won her heart by speaking honestly about his feelings. The human diplomatic ship returned to Earth with a treaty that was far better than anyone had expected. Trade agreements, technology sharing, a full alliance between humanity and the Ethony Empire. Captain Junho delivered the treaty to the United Earth Council. "How did you achieve this?" the council president asked. Junho smiled. "One of my engineers made a joke about the Queen's butt," he said, "and she fell in love with him." The council president stared at him for a very long time. "I am going to need more details," she said. Back on Ethos, Teho stood with Veleth on the balcony of her chambers. The alien sun was setting, painting the sky in colors that had no names in human language. "My mother is coming to visit next month," Teho said. "She wants to meet you. Is she going to be angry that I stole her son? Probably. But she will get over it. She is very excited to try Atheny food." Veleth leaned against him. He put his arm around her. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "Leaving your home? Your planet? Your people?" "No. My home is wherever you are. My people are whoever you allow into your heart. And as for my planet," he smiled, "I am sure I will visit. But this is where I belong now. With you." She looked up at him. Her eyes were shining. "I am glad you made that stupid joke at the banquet. So am I. Though I still cannot believe it worked. It worked because it was real. Because you were not trying to impress me or deceive me. You just were yourself. That is all I ever wanted. Someone who would be real with me." The stars were coming out now, one by one. Thousands of points of light in the darkening sky. Each one was a sun with planets of its own. Worlds full of life and love and possibility. And somewhere out there, humans and Athani were learning to understand each other, to feel together, to connect. All because one nervous engineer could not keep his mouth shut. Teho laughed at the thought. "What is funny?" Veleth asked. "I was just thinking about how strange life is. A year ago, I was fixing broken engines in the dark corners of a spaceship. Now I am standing on an alien world with the most beautiful queen in the galaxy, watching the stars come out. Do you miss the engines?" "Sometimes, but I found something better to fix." "What?" He turned to look at her. "A lonely heart," he said. Her skin flushed crimson. Even after everything, even after all they had been through, he could still make her blush. She kissed him again, under the alien stars, in the fading light of a sun that was not his own. And somewhere in the universe, a story was being written. A story about a human and an alien queen. A story about love and courage and the power of being yourself. A story that would be told for 1,000 years. The end.